Hello and welcome back to this week's webisode with Fishwick and Associates. And we have Daniel Martin and, of course, our boss man, John Fishwick. But before we go ahead and kick off the episode, I want to say that we've had a big contribution to Feed Southwest Virginia this week. We've had not one, but two court appearances, haven't we, John?
We have, and that's great news. You know, win, lose, or draw every time we go to court. And both of those, they put the JV on the field. I handled both court hearings this week, both Monday and Wednesday by Zoom. They were both in federal court, but absolutely, as a result of those two appearances, we're going to be adding on to our monthly contribution of Feeding Southwest Virginia, and that we think that's a great thing.
It is. It is. So what are we talking about this week, John?
So we thought we'd talk about deadlines. One of the cases that we argued this week, that I argued, dealt with the statute of limitations in a criminal case in federal court. And I'll get Daniel, Judge Daniel, he's our resident state court expert. So I'll get him to talk about some civil deadlines. But I think the name of this is Lions, Tigers, and Bears, because all lawyers, including us, exactly. We wake up in the middle of the night worried about deadlines. There are strict deadlines in our business. You know, we do lots to monitor them and pay attention to them. Daniel has a lot to do with that, and so do others in our firm. Some of those folks who have not appeared on the webisodes are involved in that. But they maybe they'll come up to speak about the deadlines. But the case today that I had was in federal court. The question was, when was the deadline to bring a charge against one of our clients? And the basic rule in federal court is it's 5 years that it's got to be brought. And so there's some kind of interesting facts in that case. The federal judge will have to decide if that case is time barred or not. So in a criminal case, sometimes the statute of limitations in a criminal case, which means how much time does the government or the prosecution have to bring that case? If something happens, how many years later can they still prosecute that person? That's what a statute of limitation means. It's a law that how much time you have to bring the case. So today I was arguing that the time had run out on a criminal case that we've got, and it's up to the judge. We'll see what happens, but we spent a lot of time working on it. We filed two briefs in the case and argued it via Zoom, hence the contribution to Feed Southwest Virginia. So today I thought this would be a good topic. It's timely. We'll be waiting on the decision from the judge in that case. But Daniel, we do a lot of civil cases, and the various deadlines for those personal injury cases, some of our civil rights cases, some of our commercial cases. Tell us about that. Tell our viewers about deadlines in civil cases and how they come up.
Right. So whether you're in Kansas or Oz or in Virginia, every jurisdiction has statute of limitations for civil cases. And what that means is that from the time that the cause of action accrues, which is a legal concept, which we can get into a bit later, perhaps, you basically have a certain amount of time to file the lawsuit, which is, in Virginia, it's typically 2 years for most cases. There are some claims kind of lawsuits where it's longer or shorter. For example, for defamation, you have 1 year from the publication of the defamatory statement. And for breach of contract, if it's a written contract, you have 5 years from the breach. But for most cases, the kind of catch-all in Virginia, and for personal injury cases, which we deal with a lot, it's 2 years. And these are, important deadlines. If you don't file within the statute of limitations period, your case is just, going to be thrown out, regardless of how injured you are or how meritorious a case you have. The statute of limitations is kind of the law of the land. So and one important aspect of statute of limitations is that it often will begin to run from the time of the injury, not necessarily when you know about the injury. So it's very important, to get, if you have an injury, to get legal advice, as soon as you can, not wait to the last minute, because you don't want your lawyers to be scrambling to meet that deadline.
Yes, we've been known to have to do that. So these deadlines are important. And so, Zach, I think one thing we'd say to our viewers is, as soon as you think you have a legal case, you need to contact us.
Oh, absolutely.
Because there can be certain deadlines out there that we'll be aware of. And so it's important to get to us right away, because if we are going to want to take your case, if we do take your case, we don't want there to be any deadline problems. So we look at that pretty rigorously at the beginning. So the sooner folks can get into to see us, the better. So these deadlines are things that we are very focused on. It's kind of a baseline thing when anybody calls in or we talk to them about a case, when did it happen? And what kind of case is it? And what kind of case is it? And then what is the judge going to say? How much time do we have to bring this case? So we work off those deadlines. They're important. And so the sooner folks get in to talk to us about their case, the better off they are, the better off we are. So This topic came to my mind this week because we were in court arguing it. In this case, to have a couple of charges against our client thrown out because it may be too late. The judge will decide that. But these limitations are important, and so we keep a focus on that. So it's been great to talk to you guys today about this. And Zach, if you could, as our host with the most, sign us off, that would be great.
Absolutely. And before we go, John, I heard, lions, tigers, and bears are mine. Then, Dan, you said something about, Oz and Kansas. Now, you're referring to the Wizard of Oz, correct?
I am. I don't
That's
think
a good, big
Daniel
fan,
knows.
aren't you?
What's that?
You're a big fan of that, aren't you?
I am.
It came out when you were in high school, right? I think that's what Daniel and I were talking about.
That's nice. That's nice. I'm sure Judge Daniel's never heard of it, or he's never seen the black and white version. That's for sure.
Right. I don't think there was a black and white version. I think it was black and white, for the first part of it, and then it, got into color when they got the odds. From my memory, anyway.
Yes. No, I didn't just see it in high school. I think I helped write it.
There we go. There we go. Well, all in good fun. And to all of you out there, thank you again for joining us this week. And again, we always encourage you, if you have any questions, or anything, please call us or comment, and please like and subscribe, and we will see you next week. Thanks, everybody.